Yo, what's up, everybody? I hope everybody is enjoying these our weeks, and I hope everybody is had a great summer. And what I wanted to speak about today was the benefits of short chain fatty acids, which are produced by our large intestine, which are very, very beneficial for health reasons and also the production of a good regulation of your gut diversity, which is a combination of having good combination of a good balance of probiotics and a mixed balance of good and bad bacteria, and how to fight off things like inflammation, diseases, inflammatory bowel syndrome, small intestine bacterial overgrowth, and a lot of the other symptoms that we struggle with. So, as you know, my name is Ray McKenna. I have over 15 years' experience inside of the industry, in the fitness industry. I have taken two masters in nutrition and sports physiology and also sports training. And I also have got qualifications and papers which I got in Australia to be able to apply nutrition plans for people, where I spent 2 years over there in an internship and also working with Sports Nutrition Australia to be able to write meal plans and give nutritional information, which I'm going to do today. So, it's a hot topic in the world, the gut microbiota right now, which is the cells that's all around our bodies and every single where that we go and inside of our large intestine, which helps us regulate good bacteria inside of our gut microbiome. And it also has a great relationship with our brain. Remember, our gut and brain are connected all the time. So, what we eat every single day, what we kind of digest and don't digest, can have a reflection back to stored stuff inside of our brain. So, it has a massive relationship with our brain, the gut microbiota. The gut microbiota also makes a feel good neurotransmitter called serotonin every single day. So, just think of that. Do you ever notice when you feel good? You really do. So, what happens is it gets made inside of our gut. Our gut is related to so many different things that we do. But the thing about the gut microbiota, which I'd like to speak with you today, it's very, very individualized and specific to an individual. I'm going to repeat that again. The gut microbiome, you can call it whatever you want, is very, very individualized and specific to an individual. It can be related through when you are born, it can adapt to different environments, different cultures, different foods, different gene expressions at different times. And this is why it's now 2023 when I'm doing this video. And with this being 2023, basically, we have got new foods, new science, new experimentations, new diseases, new stuff for the immune system to fight against. So it's a new evolving area of research. And when I wrote my thesis in Real Madrid University, and I was challenged by the professors on my thesis with exercise and how it relates to the gut microbiota, they were so fascinated with this topic because even they're aware it's a new topic, and these are professors and PhDs. So think of this all together, if you can, that basically, if you look into the gut microbiota, what I'm going to speak to today is like we have an intestine inside of us which is used to absorb and digest things every single day, right? So what happens is when you put in certain carbohydrates, which people would say in general, carbs are bad, but carbohydrates have different chains. Like they're broken down into different kind of stuff. Like you got monosaccharides, polysaccharides, desaccharides, and there's other kind of ones, but they're the most basic ones. You got simple sugars, You've got complex sugars which have different chains and different combinations of different carbohydrate molecules, right? So you have this unbelievable thing called fiber, which you have insoluble fiber and soluble fiber, which insoluble is more water visible, and soluble is broken down a little bit more easier. Whereas fibers that are not digested in the intestine go to the large intestine, which is your colon, all right? Your colon is like, let's say it's like a jungle of all these kind of hives, and like what it's doing is it's regulating good these live bacteria inside of your gut microbiota, right? But these good gut microbiota are improving the mobility of your digestive system and your immune system, all right? It is improving fatty acid oxidation, all right, which is fats. It's improving and supporting the strength and resilience of your immune system, all right. It is also improving how things get to the liver and how other kind of foreign invaders are being digested and absorbed. Sorry, just the way I'm moving. And it's also building a great relationship with our brains. Makes sense? So just kind of think about all of that right now. So you probably heard of, so what happens is, first off, I'm going to tell you what these short chain fatty acids, I just put a little picture up here for you. So what they are is like, do you ever hear it when someone says, I eat fat? So right, I eat fat, no problem whatsoever. But there's different forms of fat that we eat. We have polyunsaturated fats, which are kind of like, say, our omega-3s. It's a different kind of form of fat, and you probably heard of monounsaturated fats, omega-6, omega-9, all them kind of foods, your olive oils and them kind of stuff. And then you have saturated fat. And then you have like MCT, medium chain triglycerides, all right, which are a medium chain, whereas most of the other fats can be long chains, which means they're just longer fatty acids that take a little bit longer to get broken down over time, right? Whereas short chain fatty acids are made up of six molecules, right? So, but they're produced from carbohydrates and fibers inside of the large intestine, all right? So what happens is, do you ever notice when you probably eat fiber, you eat a little bit of carbohydrates, and you probably say, I feel bloated. But like, maybe bloatedness is a good thing. Maybe it's controlling and regulating cholesterol inside of the blood. Do you know where I come from? Bad cholesterol inside the blood. Maybe it's regulating your blood glucose. That's why you're probably bloated. Probably what's going on is your body's using that fiber to regulate and become good bacteria inside your gut microbiota to be able to fight off foreign invaders, to be able to build good quality bacteria that's good for long-term production of your overall health. Does this make sense? Where these short-chain fatty acids, which are butyrate, propionate, and acetate, which are broken down and are from short-chain fatty acids. And what happens with these three short-chain fatty acids, which I'm speaking about, is they go in and they help support aerobic metabolism. It helps support lactate metabolism, which comes from carbohydrates. And when you're working, say, on performance, do you ever notice when your body produces lactate? These have a contribution and a relationship with carbohydrates and fat metabolism, which helps support your training performance, which also supports your immune system and prevents you from possibly getting sick, prevents you from getting upper respiratory tract infections, controls systemic long-term inflammation over time. Like there's substantial amount of scientific evidence, which I can share with anybody that's watching these videos, no problem, but that's not about that today, on how dietary fiber controls and balances cholesterol levels inside of human beings. This is just what the science says, because in science, speaking today, my opinion doesn't really mean much. That's being honest. What matters and what really, really means is the randomized control trials that are done inside of science and what the best systematic reviewers say inside of the evidence today, because that's where the collective amount of information is and where things are today. So how we can produce these short chain fatty acids is by increasing our dietary fiber intake consistently over time. Now, I know there's loads of these different kind of books written on all these different kind of diets, but to be honest, anyone watching this, I research Red Pen Reviews, which is by some of the biggest researchers in the world today. And what they do inside of them books is they look at every single book that's being written, and they're in the process. They've done about 20 to 25. I can give you a copy of that link, no problem. It's done by Stephen Gainey, who was one of the greatest experts in this world. And it breaks down which has scientific accuracy, which has no scientific accuracy, which has damage towards people's health. So we're going to speak based on the science. So dietary fiber in the mixed combination of different variety of dietary fibers from what we say fruits and vegetables and good quality whole grains without being in large amounts all the time will give you a different combination and a mixed combination of good prebiotics, which are going to help the production of short chain fatty acids. It's going to help increase gastric emptying. Gastric emptying is when, say, for example, you eat food and it doesn't get stuck in the intestines. It can just get straight out and released to the liver and straight into the blood to get going. And like many years that probably have worked with me in the past probably even understand this. If you're an aerobic responder or you're doing endurance events, we understand how we want carbohydrates right in and we prevent fiber where we wanted to get straight into circulation. And we know that gastric emptying can improve whether you win a race or whether you don't win a race. Because if you haven't got good gastric emptying and you struggle with like flatulence, you're farting all the time, you're vomiting, you have nausea, you get diarrhea, all these kind of things can actually happen from this, right? So when we put, but like the positive is like when we put foods in, like from say carbohydrates and proteins, what happens in our intestines is the stuff that cannot be digested and absorbed, which are non-digestible fibers, they go into the large colon, which ferments these fibers, which become short chain fatty acids. And what happens is they then do what I'm at been speaking about with their regulation and their benefits towards exercise performance, immune system, and again, controlling systemic inflammation and inflammation over time in general, and preventing you from catching diseases and probably also improving how your body manages blood cholesterol levels, right? So that's what we're going to just speak on what dietary fiber and short chain fatty acids have been shown to do. Now, common symptoms that could be holding somebody back from absorbing and digesting certain carbohydrates and certain foods in general. So, do you ever notice like where people say like, right, this fiber is not good or vegetables are not good, right? But let's say we look into the benefits now of vegan and vegetarian diets. Like if we look at the science today on how much that has changed and improved people over time. So when there's science done on a vegan and vegetarian diet, what they would control is energy intake, which it wouldn't pass the literature if you didn't do that. And they would control macro and micronutrient composition of them individuals, because like that's what would have to be controlled. And if you look into the benefits of these, they are consuming more phytochemicals, which phytochemicals are carotenoids, which come from carrots, say all your red, orange, sweet potatoes. Carotenoids are very, very good. They contain a lot of vitamin A and stuff like that. But other antioxidants that can help probably fight off long-term inflammation and reactive oxygen species and pathogens and toxins all coming in. And then the other phytochemicals like that they would probably consume is, say, more polyphenols from different kinds of fruits, vegetables, grains, and then calcium intake increases. But like I believe that not only that, so like when you eat lots of vegetables and lots of grains, and your body has to consistently break that down all the time, you're kind of expanding a little bit of energy also. And the other thing is when you eat dietary fiber foods and foods that are rich in different combinations of carbohydrates and vegetables and stuff like that, an individual also becomes a lot more fuller. And it's hard. Did you ever notice, like, when you eat these kind of foods, that like you have a higher level of food volume? So automatically you're probably eating for longer, but you're eating less food, which the energy density of these foods is less. So what I'm trying to say is that when people automatically switch to a vegan, vegetarian kind of diet, they automatically switch from probably eating more lower saturated fats. I'm not saying saturated fats are bad. When you look into the signs of the food matrix, which food matrix is a combination of different food groups inside of a meal, which controls and balances cholesterol levels, and has seen that reversing type 2 diabetes in people at 30 to 40% saturated fats levels. But so when they decrease their level of saturated fat intake, they're also then increasing their levels of monounsaturated, polyunsaturated fats, and they get this great combination. But the most important thing is they're producing more short chain fatty acids inside of their large intestine and improving their digestion and absorption over time, which is giving them a great combination of different probiotics, combination of good and bad bacteria, and eventually then they're getting all these great positive health outcomes over a longer duration of time. That doesn't mean that you have to go vegan, vegetarian, or anything like that. But what I am saying is, if you look into the benefits of when somebody actually eats more combination of prebiotic foods and dietary fiber foods. So just thinking of that to take into consideration. Now, the other thing about this, what we want to speak about, let's say, for example, you are somebody, the typical person would always be on every single diet of the month all the time. For example, 10 days in, they're trying this new diet, and all of a sudden, they lack the internal locus of control, which they're not really driven by intrinsic motivation, understanding the meaning behind why I'm doing this, what is the purpose behind why I'm doing this. All of a sudden, they hear some friend or they hear new diet, or they might be focusing on instant gratification and say, I didn't get results in 10 days. Hell with this. Game over. Goes out, does loads of binging, loads of food binges. So, and then all that going into their intestines, into their colon, some of it not reaching it, the body not knowing what to do with it, becomes highly, highly inflammatory, affects your liver, affects all your cholesterol levels, downregulates, suppresses the immune system, because like the gut and the intestines don't know what to do sometimes, you know. And then this is like a high level of inflammation. And then all of a sudden, that individual might get sick, performance might go down, anxiety is increased, might catch everything that's going on in the environment. Because again, you've downregulated the bacteria inside your gut that's fighting all of this stuff off as it is. And then all of a sudden, you're probably, everything that comes in is like it's like a foreign invader that the immune system, the adaptive immune system and innate immune system is just trying to defend. So, and this is then all of a sudden you say to yourself, you know what? Sunday night it is, you're probably sitting in, watching TV, feeling ashamed of yourself, really, really lethargic and frustrated. Like, frustration is common when these behaviors happen. And then you say to yourself, you're sitting there and then something comes on or you hear something. Extrinsic motivation, external locus of control. Because if you are internally locus of control, you wouldn't be falling off track all the time. You'd have control of your destiny. You would have control of your thoughts. You would know exactly what to do on a day-to-day basis in order for you to be able to achieve the goals that you're looking to accomplish. That's internal locus of control. Internally in control, I am in control of my own destiny. I am in control of my own decisions every single day. I everything that I focus on and every action and behavior that I do every single day is going to dictate where I become. Self-belief, self-worth. That's real self-worth. Feeling worthy and knowing with absolute certainty that you're going to achieve your goal. You should not be program hopping, diet hopping, jumping on all these kind of stuff. Listen to unsolicited advice on internets or kind of these kind of stuff, like, then do you think that that's good for your immune system and your gut microbiota to be keep binging and falling off track all the time, and then like decide and say the next 2 weeks or next 4 weeks I'm going to try a carnivore diet or a ketogenic diet because someone said to go and do this kind of stuff, where these people that's providing these diets, like, are they even being held accountable to who they're actually giving them? Have they got insurance to write meal plans for people? That's the thing you have to look into. But then again, which can be viable options, but like then you lose the ability and you down regulate the bacteria inside your gut microbiota. So then when you put these foods back in, chances are you could have IBS, inflammatory bowel syndrome. You could lose the ability for the enzymes that's responsible to be able to metabolize and digest certain kinds of carbohydrates and utilize them. Could affect you. So therefore, you probably put the carbohydrates back into your body, you put the fiber back into your body, and your body probably can't digest it. You probably can't absorb it really, really well. Because that's when things like FODMAPs come in, fermentable oligosaccharide, desaturates, monounsaturates, and polyols, which are the other kinds of carbohydrates that our body can't digest and absorb. So therefore, that's why a low FODMAP diet might be a solution for an individual. But the thing about low FODMAP diets are it takes probably about six weeks for them to start working on you, 4 to 6 weeks, and it's not a long-term solution because you're able to put these carbohydrates back into your body and you're able to actually see, right, now that because like you think about inflammatory bowel syndrome, it's just a leaky gut. It's kind of a leaky gut. And what happens is, like, when you actually, it's not a long-term solution to be able to like cut out all these good prebiotic carbohydrates that are probably hard for you to digest at that given time. But that's still going to take 6 weeks anyhow. So it's about finding out like what diet is probably personalized and specific to you. So the thing about the gut microbiota and the production of short-term fatty acids, they're not going to work on a short-term solution. It's over the longevity, over a 3 to 6 month to probably a 9 month solution that these short-term fatty acids and having a good gut microbiota is going to benefit you in general. So the question is, like, what you probably need to ask yourself is like, and how I would coach if I was to give information or any kind of advice today. First off, the gut microbiota is very, very specific and individualized to you. It's an understanding of like, right, what is your current training schedule looking like? What is your current environment that's surrounding you looking like? What is your current culture? What kind of foods do you like to eat? What kind of foods are you surrounded by all the time? What fruits and vegetables are grown fresh near you? What's available to you? It's not just looking into this. What is your current sleep schedule like? Your circadian rhythms we can look into. And then the other thing that we can kind of look into, have you got any symptoms that you're struggling with? Are you consistently struggling with indigestion of certain foods? Are you struggling with like consistently being able to train without feeling probably bloated, being able to run? You could be someone that's struggling with probably diarrhea. You could be someone that's struggling with vomiting in your training. I don't know. You could be someone that's lacking a lot of sleep on a night-to-night basis. But like, this is why it's very, very important to understand, is this individualized and specific to you? But I tell you one thing that I do believe works for a good gut microbiota and a good production of short-chain fatty acids for some generic advice. And it is having a combination of different combinations of fruits, trying out different fruits in good combinations. Like, for example, you might start off with some low FODMAP kind of fruits, like blueberries, kiwis, small amount of mandarin. These are low FODMAP, low fermentable carbohydrates that are really, really easy to absorb and digest. That doesn't mean that apples are bad. It doesn't mean that oranges are bad. It doesn't mean that mangoes or anything else is bad. It just means that the thing about carbohydrates are they're digested and absorbed differently to each other. They all contain different combinations of carbohydrates inside of them. So therefore, you can find out the fruits that you can digest well and absorb well and become a little bit open-minded. Because there's one thing I learned about this mind. This mind is like a parachute. And they respond really, really well when they're open. And that's being honest. They function really good when they're open. And that means that having an open mind and trying new foods, new fruits, and seeing what works for you, it's also going to give you another combination of great phytochemicals, great polyphenols, great other stuff, great prebiotics to regulate a good combination of bad and good bacteria inside your gut microbiota to give all these benefits that I have in front of me. And then the other thing is that, like, you might try out different kind of vegetables and different ones that are working specific to you. Again, if you haven't tried vegetables in a long time, or you probably cut them out of your diets, maybe it's a good idea to actually put inside ones that are easily absorbed. You might try them in a smoothie. You might try lower fiber kind of vegetables for the time being. Because remember this, the gut microbiota is highly, highly adaptable. So it's evolving all the time. And the diversity, which is the great combination of good, bad, and bacteria, it's a dictate of the result of the microbiomes that are inside of your large intestine. And when they're good, you have a good production of short chain fatty acids. But this happens over time. As exercise increases, as you become healthier, more fitter, your gut microbiota becomes more resilient, much more better at fighting off pathogens, at regulating a good strength of your immune system, if this makes sense. But it's not going to happen overnight, no matter what way we try to even do this. It happens over time. The more you keep saying, hell with this, and quitting things, and drinking loads of probably alcohol, eating loads of like these cheat meals and binging on different foods and keep giving up all the time, you're not really doing yourself favors, and you're not looking at the longevity of this over time, where the gut will become more resilient and much more effective over 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, 12 months. But it's not only that the gut. See, we're looking at nutrition in isolation. This is going to regulate, this is going to regulate anxiety, mood swings, depression. It's going to also look into like getting you away from antibiotics. So you think it is. When you take antibiotics, you actually get a leaky gut, which is it's inflammation towards your gut microbiota. So therefore, if you actually have a strong immune system, you have better short-chain fatty acids. You have much more better resilience and good combination of good bad and bad bacteria, managing good cholesterol levels. You shouldn't have to take antibiotics. We shouldn't have to take any tablets whatsoever. So think of the longevity, and you might ask yourself a question today, right? Where do I want to be in the next 5 years? Where do I want to be with me health in the next 5 years? And just kind of think of that, because like when you do get a good gut microbiota, I can tell you one thing that will happen. Your skin will look a lot more better. Your digestion will look a lot more better. You won't get sick, but your exercise performance will increase. Meaning, and I'm not talking about going to the gym and doing loads of training sessions. I'm just talking about you should get stronger in the gym. You should possibly have much more better joint function. You should possibly have better connective tissue over time, which is the ligaments and tendons and all of them kind of things that connect our bodies, muscles, bones, all that every single day. You should feel less pain and less inflammation over a long duration of time. Your aerobic fitness should increase over longer durations of time. Your sleep should increase over long durations of time. And here's the other one that really, really should increase over time. You know, when you have a little donut or you have a bar of chocolate or you go out and you have a meal, a free meal with your friends and family, or you go out to your favorite restaurant and you have a good supportive immune system, you have good digestion, you have a good combination of bacteria regulating the microbes in your large intestine, and you have good absorption and digestion and good enzyme activity in your intestines, and you have good healthy pancreas, which is responsible for releasing insulin, regulating your blood glucose and how carbohydrates get stored, reversing type 2 diabetes, all these kind of things. When you go out and you have that pizza or you go out and have that food with your friends or stuff like that, your gut and your digestion stuff is so fit, so resilient, it can handle that like no problem whatsoever. You get where I'm coming from? Because you have a good combination of dietary fiber and you have this ever evolving adaptive system that's dynamic and moving and adapting to the new environment and the new diseases and viruses that's coming our way, that you can fight off anything that's coming your way. I hope this is making sense. But you're not going to do this with a quick fix solution. It doesn't happen in a 6 and 12 week programs. It happens over the longevity of time and doing this consistently with the habits that you do every single day. So I hope this video was value. I hope it added value. I'm willing to answer any questions that's needed. So the other thing that I would like to add, say that if you are somebody that's struggling with a leaky gut, digestive systems, consistently falling off track with your workouts and your nutrition all the time, feeling that you start things for 5 to 10 days and you fall off track and you just fall back to where you started all the time, or if not worse, and you feel so frustrated and defeated that you don't know where to start. You feel so overwhelmed with the conflicting amount of information out there online that you don't know how to find something personalized and specific to you. Let me know if I can help you, because I would love to help you and help you to the best of my ability. Drop me a message at any time. Reach out to me whatsoever. If you want anything added in the group or any of your questions answered, I'd love to answer them. Thank you very much also for following this video, and I hope it gave you value, and share it with anybody else if we can give them value too. Thank you very